Have you ever met someone who, the moment they walk into a room, it feels as if your energy is being drained? There is no shouting, no obvious conflict, yet something about their presence makes your mind feel heavier, your body tense up, and your inner peace slowly slip away. That is not a coincidence. It is a sign of a subtle form of toxicity, one that does not harm you through wounds, but through quiet erosion. Many people think toxicity means being rude, confrontational, or aggressive, but the truth goes much deeper. A person may speak softly, smile warmly, or even help you when you need it, yet still weaken your spirit over time. It is not their outward behavior, but the impact they have on your mind that becomes the real measure. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control others, but we can control who we allow to influence our minds. And this is exactly why you must learn to recognize toxic individuals. A toxic person is like a wind that keeps blowing against your inner flame. One day is fine, 2 days are manageable, but months and years can turn even a strong person into a weakened version of themselves. The Stoics remind us that the soul is like a fortress. It only collapses when the door is open from within. That is why your first task is not to change anyone else, but to see clearly who is standing at the door of your mind. We must recognize it early, because toxicity does not always appear in the form of an enemy. Sometimes it comes from family, friends, co-workers, or even people we once trusted. And when we cannot see clearly, we confuse endurance with kindness and mistake erosion for sacrifice. In this video, you will discover the 10 clearest signs to identify a toxic person, combining insights from modern psychology with ancient Stoic wisdom. Begin this journey with open eyes and a steady mind, because your peace deserves to be protected above all else. The first sign is the manipulator. Among all the types of people who cause silent harm, manipulators are the most dangerous because their tactics rarely appear aggressive. They do not command you to do anything. Instead, they use emotions as leverage, guiding you to willingly step into the trap they have already set. Their control does not come from force, but from the guilt they plant inside you. You will often hear phrases with the same underlying tone. If you really cared, you would do this. I always sacrifice for you, yet you never understand. You are the reason I feel this way. Every line is crafted to make you believe the responsibility is yours, the mistake is yours, and their emotions are something you must carry. In the spirit of the Stoic sages, no one can weaken our mind unless we grant them that power. Epictetus taught that what disturbs us is not the actions of others, but how we interpret them. When you take their accusations as truth, you open the door for them to enter your mind. A manipulator is not identified by their words, but by the feeling they leave behind after you interact with them. If you always feel guilty, always feel the need to explain yourself, always try to please them, and constantly fear upsetting them, that is not care or affection. That is subtle control. Protecting yourself from this type of person is not about arguing, but about awareness. When you separate your true emotions from the emotions they try to impose on you, their influence immediately weakens. You do not need confrontation. You only need to stand firm in your values, and you will free yourself from their control. The second sign is the relentless critic. They exist like a magnifying glass, constantly pointed at your flaws. No matter how well you do, they will always find something to criticize, to remind you of, or to use to make you doubt your own efforts. They do not realize that their words are not guidance, but a sharp blade cutting into someone's self-esteem. When you share something positive, they respond with skepticism. When you achieve something worth being proud of, they downplay your success. Over time, you start to believe that you are truly not good enough, that you must try harder to earn their approval, even though that approval will never come. Stoicism teaches that a person's worth does not lie in the praise or criticism of others. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the opinions of others are merely winds passing through the mind. They only become burdens when we allow ourselves to be carried away by them. A critic cannot break you if your foundation within remains strong. Recognizing this type of person is simple. After interacting with them, you often feel diminished rather than uplifted. You feel less confident than before. You start over-evaluating yourself even when you have done nothing wrong. To protect yourself, what you need is not to respond or prove anything. What you need is to preserve your self-respect. Remember that their words reflect their mind, not your value. When you stand firm in calmness, they can no longer pull you down with them. The third sign is the narcissist. If the manipulator makes you feel guilty and the critic makes you doubt yourself, then the narcissist makes you disappear from your own life. They live as if the entire world revolves around them. In their mind, your attention is not a gift, but an obligation. They expect praise, expect to be heard, and expect to be treated as the natural center of every conversation. The narcissist always places themselves above others. Their achievements are exaggerated, their hardships dramatized, and your success is often dismissed as something small or simply luck. When you confide in them about something important, they skillfully redirect the conversation back to their favorite topic, themselves. They do not truly listen. They are merely waiting for their turn to speak. The striking part is that they rarely recognize their own lack of empathy. They do not intend to hurt anyone, but their emotional emptiness creates cold, silent gaps in every relationship. You can stand right in front of them and still feel as though you do not exist. According to Stoic philosophy, narcissists are not dangerous because of their arrogance, but because they rob your mind of its stillness. When you let your self-worth depend on their approval, you hand your life over to someone who never truly sees you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that our soul becomes small when we allow it to revolve around the opinions of others. The way to protect yourself is to maintain a healthy distance. You do not need confrontation, you do not need debate, and you do not need to explain yourself. You only need to remember that their validation does not define your value. The more firmly you stand in your inner strength, the less capable their spotlight becomes of dimming your own light. The fourth sign is the silent saboteur. They never show direct opposition, yet their presence is like an underground current that slowly erodes what you are trying to build. This is the silent saboteur, a dangerous form of toxicity because they often hide behind a friendly exterior. A silent saboteur will never say they want you to fail. They simply plant small seeds of doubt. When you are about to begin a new project, they offer a negative remark wrapped in a gentle tone. When you accomplish something, they suggest it was just luck. When you are excited to move forward, they drop a single question that makes you hesitate and second-guess yourself. These tiny actions, repeated often enough, are enough to slow your momentum. And the most dangerous part is how difficult it is to detect what they are doing. They do not attack you openly. They simply weaken your determination through a series of small but constant pricks. In the spirit of Stoicism, our lives are not ruined by rare major events, but by small repeated impacts. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind is eroded not by storms, but by drops of water falling on the same spot over and over again. The silent saboteur is exactly those drops of water. To protect yourself, observe how you feel after interacting with them. If every step forward becomes heavier when they appear, that is your signal. You do not need to confront them. You simply need to keep them out of the important plans of your life. In the quiet space created by distance, you will regain your speed and sharpness. The fifth sign is the obsessive controller. Some people do not sabotage you with words, nor do they manipulate you with emotions. They appear in a more frightening form, the obsessive controller. They want to decide everything in your life, from what you should do to how you should think. To them, your freedom is not a right, but something they believe they can reshape to their liking. The obsessive controller does not simply want you to listen to them. They want you to believe they are right and you are wrong. They disguise control as concern and use fear as the foundation. They say they worry about you. They want the best for you, but in reality, they want to keep you within a range they can predict and control. When you try to stand on your own, they use discomfort, judgment, or silence to make you feel guilty. In the spirit of the Stoic philosophers, a person is truly alive only when they are in command of themselves. Epictetus reminded us that no one can be called free if their life is governed by another's will. The obsessive controller does not take away your choices through force, but through repeated negative reinforcement that makes you forget that your life belongs to you. To recognize this type of person, observe your own reactions when you're around them. If you feel as if you must ask for permission to live your own life, that is the clearest sign. And the way to protect yourself is not through anger or confrontation, but by calmly reaffirming your boundaries. You do not need to convince them or make them understand. You only need to let them know that the right to shape your life does not belong to anyone else. When you stand firm like an inner pillar, those who seek to control you lose their power to distort your life. The sixth sign is the chronic liar. These are people who treat truth as a soft material they can bend into any shape as long as it serves their interests. They do not lie out of necessity. They lie because they are accustomed to the feeling of controlling the narrative. The chronic liar always has a prettier version of the truth. They retell events in ways that make them look better or help them avoid responsibility. When questioned about contradictions, they simply rewrite the story again, creating yet another layer to cover the previous one. The more you listen, the deeper you are pulled into a maze with no exit. The most dangerous part of this type is not the false words themselves. The danger lies in how they make you doubt your own perception. You begin to wonder whether you remembered incorrectly, whether you misunderstood something, and once you start doubting your own intuition, you become the easiest person to control. Stoic philosophy treats truth as the foundation of inner freedom. Seneca wrote that truth needs no decoration, while lies always require additional layers to hide behind. A chronic liar lives in constant fear of being exposed, while the one who embraces truth lives in calmness because they have nothing to conceal. To protect yourself from people like this, the most important thing is to maintain clarity in your thinking. When someone's words always force you to double-check, that is your signal. You do not need to argue with them or prove them wrong. You only need to maintain distance and protect your mental territory. Truth does not need to shout, but it is strong enough to keep you steady against the illusions they create. The seventh sign is the emotional chameleon. These are people whose inner world shifts constantly, dragging anyone around them into a state of instability. They can be cheerful and friendly in the morning, yet cold and tense just a few hours later. This shift happens without any clear reason. When you try to understand or ask about it, they make you feel guilty for not understanding their emotional state. They want you to adapt to their changes, but they never try to create stability for you. What makes this type so toxic is the contagiousness of their emotional volatility. The more time you spend around them, the more your mood gets pulled along. When they are sad, you have to comfort them. When they are angry, you have to avoid them. When they are disappointed, you have to explain yourself. Over time, you lose your emotional center because you are constantly adjusting yourself to match their fluctuations. In the spirit of Stoicism, the most important thing is to keep your inner world steady, like a rock standing firm in a flowing river. Epictetus reminded us that no one has the power to disturb your peace unless you give them that power. The emotional chameleon does not exhaust you through actions, but through their instability, which keeps your mind under constant tension. To protect yourself, pay attention to your own inner reactions. If you find yourself always adjusting your emotions to fit someone else's, that is a sign. You cannot make them stable, but you can keep yourself from being dragged into their emotional whirlpool. Stand firm in your own calmness so that their shifting moods no longer dictate your inner life. The eighth sign is the professional victim. There is a type of person who lives in a constant state of feeling betrayed by life. They do not simply face challenges like everyone else. They interpret every event, whether big or small, as proof that the entire world is against them. These are the professional victims, the people who turn helplessness into their identity. Their most visible trait is the complete denial of personal responsibility. When something happens, they always find someone or something to blame. They do not see mistakes as lessons, but as parts of an invisible conspiracy aimed at them. When you try to help them see a way forward, they simply present more reasons to prove that change is impossible. They want sympathy, but they refuse growth. The toxicity of this type lies in how they make you constantly carry their emotions for them. You become the comforter, the explainer, the rescuer. Every time you offer a solution, they counter it with another excuse showing why every effort is pointless. Their negativity drains your mental energy, leaving you exhausted as if you were the one dealing with their problems. In the spirit of Stoicism, a mature person is someone who takes responsibility for their own emotions and actions. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the only thing we truly control is how we respond to events. When someone rejects responsibility, they also reject their own inner freedom. To protect yourself, you must avoid becoming the emotional crutch for people who constantly play the victim. Instead of feeding into their complaints, ask them what they want to do next. And if the answer is always avoidance, it is time to set clear boundaries. You can offer empathy, but you cannot live their life for them. The ninth sign is the reality denier. These individuals exhaust you not because they are angry or explosive, but because they constantly reject the obvious truth right in front of them. This is the reality denier, the person who sees truth as a threat rather than a foundation for growth. The reality denier does not admit mistakes, does not accept consequences, and never considers the possibility that they might be wrong. When confronted with evidence, they immediately distort it, redirect it, or reinterpret it in whatever way benefits them. In their worldview, reality is not something to respect but something to reshape until it matches their ego. The most dangerous part of this type is that they can make you doubt your own clarity. When you hear a distorted version of the truth enough times, you begin to wonder whether you remembered incorrectly. This is how they shake the stability of your perception, pushing you into a whirlwind of mental confusion. Stoic philosophy places truth at the center of a rational life. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that if something is not true, it should not be spoken. And if something is not right, it should not be done. A peaceful life can only exist on a foundation of truth, even when that truth is difficult to accept. To protect yourself from reality deniers, you must maintain clarity in your thinking and neutrality in your mind. Do not get pulled into endless arguments. They are not seeking truth. Stay grounded in reality and set boundaries on the time and energy you invest in them. When you remain steadfast in truth, their illusions can no longer lead you astray. The final sign is the toxic, envious person. Among all forms of toxicity, this one appears at the moments when you are at your best. They do not care when you struggle. They react most strongly when you improve. To them, your success is not a joy, but a reminder of what they have not achieved. The toxic, envious person rarely shows their attitude openly. Instead, they use subtle comments to diminish you. When you share good news, they respond with something vague that cools your excitement. When you accomplish something, they credit it to luck rather than effort. When you try to move forward, they question you just enough to make you hesitate. Their toxicity lies in the fact that they do not simply want what you have. They want you not to have it. They do not wish to see you fall. They just do not want you to stand higher than they do. It is this silent comparison that creates a heavy cloud of negative energy around relationships that otherwise seem harmless. In the spirit of the Stoics, your value is not diminished by someone else's gaze. Epictetus reminded us that others only have the power to hurt us when we allow their words to become our standard of self-worth. Another person's envy is not a mirror of you, but a mirror of their fear and insecurity. To protect yourself from this type, choose intentional silence. You do not need to explain your success. You do not need to shrink yourself. You only need to continue on your path while keeping your distance from those who cannot celebrate your progress with sincerity. A calm mind does not shake in the winds of envy. When you stand firm in your true worth, their gaze can no longer move you. Once you can recognize toxic people, the next important step is protecting your inner world. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that the only thing you truly control is your own choices. You cannot change how others behave, but you can decide what you allow to touch your emotions. This is the foundation of inner freedom. The first tool is emotional separation. When someone behaves negatively, take a moment to pause and recognize what belongs to you and what belongs to them. Their irritation is not your responsibility. Their anger is not your burden. The moment you draw that distinction, their influence immediately loses its power. The second tool is boundaries. Boundaries are not actions taken against someone else. Boundaries are actions taken in support of yourself. You have the right to walk away from conversations that disturb your peace of mind. You have the right to leave relationships that do not respect you. You have the right to protect your mental space. The third tool is consistency. When you stay true to your values, toxic people naturally remove themselves from your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes peaceful when it stops chasing things beyond its control. And finally, remember that letting go is not a failure. It is a mature decision. You were not born to hold the fear, envy, or chaos of others. You were born to live a life that is clear, strong, and meaningful. If you want to continue your journey toward building inner peace, leave a simple comment. I choose inner peace. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss videos that help you live stronger and wiser each day. Are you ready to step into a life with less toxicity and more freedom?